Yuki is an unhinged otaku loser whose tuber career is on life support until she forgets to turn off her live stream one day and goes viral for almost drowning in beer. It all started on her usual live stream watched by simps and losers of all ages. She answered questions from her viewers as usual, and once she was done with the stream she said her goodbyes. However, thanks to a glitch in the matrix, Yuki hadn't really logged off. As she lamented about her shitty viewer count, the viewers realized she must have forgotten to sign off. A few moments later, the ever-calm and graceful Yuki was slugging down cans of beer, sounding like an ogre with a finger up its glory hole. After opening can after can, she decided to check what her competition was up to. There was a curry covering the Sausage Legends stream, a game where literal sausages battle it out to determine whose meat claps the hardest. As expected, her comment section is its own sausage fest, full of recommendations for the right kind of sausage for Hikori. Yuki's drunk ass takes one look at the comments and thinks she might get pregnant just by reading them. She goes for another can of beer and can't seem to stop gulping down the Strozero. Just then, Hikori finally finds a partner for her sausage fight, and Yuki drools at the thought of watching two meat sticks going at it. Surprisingly, Hikori really has a good grip on her sausage and manages to win the fight, and Yuki continues to drool in excitement. Hikori chooses a new opponent called Court Gister, and Yuki laughs at how ridiculous it sounds. The Gister brings a yellow banana to the sausage fight, which of course raises questions about how exactly that qualifies as a sausage. Regardless, the banana puts up a fierce fight against the black sausage, and Yuki finally reaches the moment where she squirts her lemon juices. Afterward, Yuki goes crazy as she announces that Hikori's stream has activated new heights of pleasure for her. Yuki's streamers can't believe their ears and quickly send tweets for everyone to check her out. Hikori finally wraps up her sausage party and signs off, so a wasted Yuki waves goodbye like an idiot. Yuki praises Hikori for having the best streams, which is why everyone loves her so much, unlike her. Just then, she notices her can is empty and heads to the fridge to get some more as she realizes she's on track to being flat broke and depressed. Now that it's late, she decides to check out Chami's stream and sleep. After plugging in, Chami's calm voice is every ASMR junkie's wet dream. Yuki closes her eyes to immerse herself in a stream almost as addictive as Strozero. It's almost like Chami is standing right next to her, guiding her on the wonders of beer cleaning. After experimenting with different kinds of tools, there was nothing more effective than the trusty hardwood. Yuki was ready to have Chami's wood inside of her, and with that soothing voice, it felt every bit as good as the real thing. Next, Chami talks about eating out, warning that the juices can leak if you don't know how to do it right. In a few moments, Yuki is fast asleep and her dreams mirror Chami's desire to go deeper inside, hoping it doesn't hurt. Her streamers can't get enough, and as more and more streamers discover the consequences of one too many cans of beer, Yuki's stream climbs to the #1 spot on VTuber. Over 5,000 weirdos log in to hear a sleeping drunk dream about Chami's wood all the way till morning. The next morning, Yuki's manager, Suzuki, starts blowing up her phone, disturbing Yuki's romance with the floor. The bum finally wakes up in time to see her phone ringing, only to hear a frantic Suzuki on the other line. Suzuki tells her to stay quiet and warns her not to freak out from what she's about to say. Yuki stays perfectly calm as asked until Suzuki tells her to turn off her stream. The realization hits her like an ice-forming blizzard as she heads to her computer to check the comments chaos. Some of these weirdos really stayed up just to hear when she woke up, but overall, everyone seemed to be looking forward to her next stream. Reviewer count is over 10,000 and counting, so Yuki screams one last profanity-packed exclamation for the viewers. Everyone laughs as they realize she's finally found out she's trending, while Suzuki congratulates her on doing well. For her, she'd always expected Yuki would blow up someday, but she never expected her to play the forgetting to end stream card. Despite Suzuki promising to do all she can to help, Yuki's vision goes blurry as she starts to feel those 4 beers fighting to come back up. The last thing the fans hear is some hurling sounds as the live stream finally ends. Later on, Yuki calls Suzuki to apologize for the major screw-up, but Suzuki assures her the drinking and lack of dignity was totally fine for her. Yuki tried to confirm if Suzuki had a brain tumor, explaining that this was a big scandal, but Suzuki responded by saying the company had pretty much bet on this exact thing happening. Apparently, Yuki was even more unhinged during her interview with the company, but Yuki somehow has no memory of it. Suzuki assures her that the only thing strange was how long she was able to pretend she was a calm and rational human being. Aoyuki asks why they hired her if she was a wrecking ball waiting to hit, but Suzuki explains that at Live On, they choose their streamers based on their ability to shine. Aoyuki feels she shines like sewer trash, but Suzuki reminds her that she's now the center of attention. There were a few negative comments since the change was sudden, but most of the viewers actually claim to love it, which means they're interested in whatever demon Aoyuki is housing. Aoyuki starts to see the bright side, so Suzuki suggests they reorganize her schedule to keep things nice and regulated. She tells her to ride the wave while she can sense there's really no going back to the pure image she had been putting out. As Aoyuki looks through the comments, she realizes they aren't nearly as vile as she thought they'd be. Suddenly her phone rings and it turns out to be Hikari. Aoyuki awkwardly picks up, but Hikari immediately congratulates her on being #1 on trending, saying she was really sucked in by her lack of inhibition or shame. Hikari brings up the comments Aoyuki made about her stream, but luckily, she took them to mean Aoyuki just finds her really cute. Aoyuki sweats rivers, but the dumbass doesn't catch on, and suggests they do a collab sometime as she says goodbye. Afterward, Aoyuki heads to a store to stock up on more of the StroZero stuff, while she reads nice messages from her Live On colleagues. Later, she heads to a park to think about what it means to show the real her that she's been hiding for so long. When she first started, she thought she was going to make it big like Mr. Beast, but she struggled to grow her channel and all her mates had double her subscriber count. Her purse was currently empty, and she only had 2 weeks left in the month, so she figured she might as well embrace her freedom. That evening, she pops open a can and logs on with her true self. Then she apologizes for forgetting her stream on. The viewers are surprised she isn't sorry about the indiscriminate drinking, so she explains that since her management is fine with it, she might as well screw it all. The comments go crazy, asking if she's already drunk and calling her a lightweight after just 1 can. She remains unapologetic, and the comments just kept rolling in, making her realize she's happy to be called a StroZero humper, and even plans to marry the drink if she can. One of the comments asks her to explain wanting to jizz to Hikari's stream. So Aoyuki assures them that girls who innocently say dirty things is her kink, and it would be an insult not to flick the bean in her honor. The comments become almost as unhinged as she is, which makes her happy till she realizes some celebrities have joined the chat. Say and Shine joined the stream and commend her on being a kindred spirit. This pushes Aoyuki over the edge as she asks them to marry her so they can bump each other's pleasure humps. The comments can smell she's a fellow virgin and begin to roast her, but Sei is actually into it and even asks what her favorite girl-on-girl fantasy is. Aoyuki says she likes the ones with an unwilling partner, so Sei tells her they should collab sometime. Shin asks to join in the action, and Aoyuki can't believe all her steamy dreams are coming true, so she tells everyone to stand StroZero. The next day, sober Aoyuki finds the news of last night's proposal all over the internet, so she starts glitching from the humiliation and rolls of the bed. An empty StroZero can lands right beside her, tempting her to discover what new depths of cringe lie beyond the next can. Aoyuki can no longer help herself and answers the call of her fiancé. Later, she returns to her stream and announces a collab, so the comments tell her to get drinking. Aoyuki reveals she's already winded from day drinking, but she still opens up another can. Next, she reveals her collab partner, who turns out to be Mashurun. Mashurun introduces herself and says she went to visit her dear child, but found a can of StroZero in her place. Aoyuki calls Mashurun her mom because she's the illustrator who designed her look. Now, Aoyuki says she's hoping to release all her bottled-up feelings, making Mashurun lame and being looked at like a piece of meat by her genmate. She then expresses her surprise at how long Aoyuki has been able to stay in the closet till now. Aoyuki explains that she usually doesn't start chugging the cans till late at night after streaming when Mashurun would be asleep. Mashurun says that it's still shocking to witness in person, as Aoyuki seems like the fizziness of StroZero herself. She decides she'll call her Shua whenever she's wasted, and Aoyuki agrees because why not? Next, they head to the Q&A section, and the first one asks how many StroZeros Aoyuki has drank in a go. Aoyuki reveals she's a lightweight and usually sticks to 3 a night, but after she quit her last soul-sucking job, she celebrated with 6 cans. This explains how she ended up being a NEET. Mashurun asks if she was okay the next morning, but Aoyuki assures her she woke up and puked her insides out so bad that she was on track for drowning in her own puke. Mashuran warns her that she should consider giving her liver a break so she doesn't hurt herself and suggests taking one date each week as a liver rest day. Awayuki looks away since she's got to stream every day, so Mashuran suggests trying to stream sober. She then says that even though Shu was pretty fun, she misses the old Awayuki. Awayuki is buttered up easily and agrees to try it out, making Mashuran pleased that her plan is going well. Next, Mashuran asks what Awayuki thought of Strozero when she first tried it, so Awayuki says she thought it reeked of alcohol on her first try, but when she went shopping the next day, she just couldn't take her eyes off of it. The next question asks if Strozero is really Awayuki's one and only, and there's no sneaky link. Awayuki admits to having wandering eyes, but when it's time to make a pick, she remains loyal to Strozero. Next, Mashuran asks how she really felt about forgetting to turn off her stream, followed by compliments of liking both versions of Awayuki. This makes Awayuki flustered, and when Mashuran asks why, Awayuki reveals that she hasn't gotten a wholesome comment like that in a while, so she doesn't know how to respond. Mashuran reminds her she's the one who selected the questions, but Awayuki says she just threw it in from sheer joy and went brain dead afterward. Ever since she forgot to turn off her stream, 90% of her messages have been about Strozero anyway, but the comments remind her that's on her. Mashuran prompts her to answer the question, so Awayuki compares the feeling to oversleeping on the day of her high school entrance exams, a relatable nightmare. The next comment asks if she'd mix Strozero with Monster or Red Bull, but Awayuki says she'd go for a different flavor of Strozero. As for the remaining questions, Awayuki answers Strozero to all of them and explains that since she's church rat broke, she can't really afford anything better, but even if she could, she's already sold her soul to Strozero. Mashuran points out how late it is and suggests they wrap it up. So Awayuki decides to give the fans one final display of crazy as she spazzes out over Strozero and professes her stalker-like obsession with it. Mashuran has one more thing to show Awayuki before they leave the stream, so she sends a new design for Awayuki's image as a Strozero junkie, and Awayuki's immediately into it. Later, Awayuki heads to the live-on office where Suzuki tells her the new concept model looks great. Awayuki doesn't look so thrilled. She says she's not exactly comfortable with her new image and wonders why LiveOn would want such a risky streamer. Suzuki says LiveOn's policy is that anything goes as long as the listeners like it, so Awayuki reluctantly agrees. Her 2D version is still in development, so she'll still have to wait a while. Next, Suzuki tells her of the music video they're planning with their current streamers. Awayuki freaks out at the thought of her singing, so Suzuki says if she doesn't want to do it, she can be the hype man screaming Strozero and giggling in the background. Awayuki swears to practice her singing like her life depends on it, then Suzuki tells her she'll be heading to lunch with someone soon. It turns out to be Sei and Cheyenne, making Awayuki nervous, but they introduce themselves normally. Sei says they should discuss their upcoming collab, and Cheyenne tells her not to be so uptight since they're all the same age. Awayuki can't believe that Sei's milk jugs have been growing in the same time as hers, so Cheyenne reminds her she should be fine since she's already proposed to them. Awayuki apologizes for her unfiltered degeneracy, but Cheyenne says it was funny while Sei pulls out a can of Strozero to get her going. Later they hop on a stream together announcing they'll be doing some karaoke. The girls introduce themselves and explain it wasn't planned, but the madness began from when Sei pulled out that menu at the restaurant. Now the girls suggest answering some questions in the first half and singing in the second. The first question asks Sei what kind of girl gets her soaking, and Sei says she likes hardworking, reliable girls. Awayuki realizes Sei's pretty much describing Cheyenne, so Sei admits her secret is out and gives props to the drunken detective. Cheyenne starts to wonder if it's true, while Awayuki apologizes for ruining the moment, since private rizzing is always the way to go. Sei tells Awayuki that great minds think alike, and she's even starting to drip for Awayuki now. Awayuki goes along with it and asks Cheyenne if she's down for a three-way, but Cheyenne still has some filter and refuses to continue the degeneracy. The next question asks Cheyenne what collab has left her feeling the most burned out, so she explains that before the third generation, the first and second gen used to have huge group streams that were so exhausting. Sei remembers the collabs where the first geners would yap on about movies while Shin looked completely clueless. The next question asks the girls what they'd like to see Awayuki and Shua do. Cheyenne gives the wholesome answer of eating something nice while drinking, while Sei suggests she watch her entire accidental stream. Sei inches closer to pressure Awayuki like the devil on her shoulders, so Awayuki concedes and agrees to consider it later. Next, the girls go into the second half for karaoke, and Sei takes the lead, making the listeners cheers just from her voice. Shine goes next, and the viewers hear the voice of an angel, while Owoyuki is surprisingly just as good. So the girls wrap it up and head outside. Owoyuki thanks them for a great time when she sees a text from Masharan asking for that sober stream. The girls walk together and Sei asks Owoyuki if she's met Haruo yet. Owoyuki says she hasn't and asks what she's like, so the girls say she's basically the embodiment of live on itself and can be a bit overwhelming. Sei says Haruo mentioned Owoyuki earlier, saying she'd never seen anyone make such an impact before, and this surprises Owoyuki, but she doesn't seem too pleased. As Owoyuki heads home, she thinks of how far she's come since working the soul-rot corporate job and then going home to watch the brain-rot tubers, which surprisingly gave her hope for the future. However, her life remained bleak and gray till she saw the hiring ad for the third generation. She was so nervous at the interview that her brain forced her to have amnesia, but somehow she still got the gig. After, she quit the job and became a tuber, but she sucked compared to the streamers she loved. Just then, Owoyuki sees Masharan's text and decides to try the sober stream tomorrow. The next day, she decides to do a pure stream with her old image, making the listeners wonder what the fudge is going on. Owoyuki tries a new game called Getting Over It, but after 4 hours of failure, that toilet mouth of hers starts to leak. The listeners conclude that the stream is anything but pure, while Owoyuki screams censored words that almost deafen her listeners. Some days later, Owoyuki's mic breaks down, so she gets a call from Chami, who offers to give her one of her used mics if she doesn't mind coming over. When Owoyuki arrives, Chami's already waiting nervously behind the door for the bell to ring. After, she welcomes Owoyuki, shows her around, and says she needs to stop by the bathroom for a quick second. While Owoyuki waits, she's surprised at how calm and composed Chami is, unlike her shy online presence. When Chami returns, she drops a box of her old microphones, making Owoyuki wonder why she's got that many. Chami suggests an ASMR mic to celebrate getting monetized, then offers any other normal one while she stops by the bathroom again. Owoyuki says she just went there, so Chami claims she pees 3 times from each hole. Owoyuki starts to catch on that Chami might not be okay in the head because after choosing another mic, Chami says she's got to stop by the bathroom again. When Owoyuki asks what she's actually doing in there, Chami starts tweaking and claims some sites are better left imagined. However, when Owoyuki continues to insist, she cracks and reveals she's been going in to cool off, so her anxiety doesn't give her a stroke. Owoyuki warns her not to do bathroom breaks while streaming, where the comments will think she's making Skibidi Toilet do nasty things. Owoyuki apologizes for the impending violation, but thinks it's cute to have such a socially anxious big sister. For lunch, Chami serves up some mastered chef-level grub, and to top it all off, a Strozero for the beer bride. Owoyuki asks if she drinks Strozero too, but when Chami says she hardly drinks at all, Owoyuki wonders why she had Strozero ready to go. Chami reveals that the company told her to have it ready, making Owoyuki feel like she's getting beer pimped. However, when Chami asks if she'll drink it, Owoyuki says of course she will. Later, Owoyuki and Chami jump on a collab stream, and Chami warns the viewers they won't be feeling relaxed today. Owoyuki brags about meeting Chami in person, making the simps pray they could swap places with her, while Chami surprisingly leans into it as she hasn't felt the warmth of that skin-to-skin in a hot minute. For their collab, Chami will name a situation that makes her want to crawl into a ball and die, and Owoyuki will suggest ways of dealing with it. The girls make funny noises to psych themselves up. Then Owoyuki suddenly announces that she came. The comments go crazy, and Chami is genuinely worried about what cheap crack this girl is on. The segment begins, and Chami says she struggles in restaurants where there's no call button for servers. Last time it happened, she was there so long, they thought she was the ghost haunting the place. Owoyuki suggests they simulate ordering Strozero at the restaurant, which is no surprise to Chami at this point. Owoyuki suggests she bang her head on the table so the server gets worried and checks on her, and she can finally order. Unfortunately, Owoyuki's beer brain takes over, and the advice ends up leading her down a path so dark that even her listeners can't follow. After that train wreck, Owoyuki tries the saner route and explains that good communication skills need confidence. For her, she got whipped into shape by her evil corporate job, and now no hell can be bad enough to make her shy. Chami figures that everyone just needs the right push and asks Owoyuki to be that push for her. Since Owoyuki's third kin is beginning to hit, She struggles to understand what Chami's saying till she asks them to be closer than before. Aoyuki quickly agrees at the chance to be close to Chami's body, and Chami starts to regret her life choices. They eventually wrap up the stream, but when Chami sees it's late, she asks Aoyuki if she'd like a ride. Aoyuki tries to taunt Chami a bit by suggesting she sleeps over, but surprisingly Chami lights up like a cancer scan and says she's always dreamed of having sleepovers. Aoyuki asks if she's really ready to take in a couch crasher, so Chami says she's been keeping a sleepover readiness kit for special occasions and has everything she'll need. All traces of Chami's shyness twirls away as she offers to get a bath going and even teases getting in together. Surprisingly, Aoyuki is the one turning red, and it's not even from Strozero overload. However, some moments later, the real Chami returns and apologizes for the alter ego that crawled out without permission. She then offers to clean Aoyuki's ears for real. Chami pulls out her wood and tells Aoyuki to lay on her lap, though she warns that she's never actually tried this on anyone. She starts to slide her wood in, but her nervousness makes Aoyuki wonder if her ears are really in safe hands. Chami apologizes and tries to stay calm till she's finally able to get it in and pleasure Aoyuki. Then Aoyuki suggests they sleep in the same futon, and Chami excitedly agrees to have the complete normie experience. The next day, Aoyuki uses her new mic to announce a special stream to celebrate getting monetized. The episode will include call-ins and a reveal of the new outfit Mashiron made. She then says she'll be trying a new recommended alcohol called Strozero, making the listeners wonder what game she's playing. She also thanks the listeners for their donations, though they're all suspiciously the same number, which is the price of a Strozero can. She downs the can and starts transforming into Shua when she notices a generous donation of 15,500 yen. Aoyuki can no longer hide her creepy side and starts to climax off of a fever daydream of money and Strozero. When she starts dreaming of buying Strozero by the cartons now, one concerned commenter wonders if the donations are really a good idea. So Aoyuki assures them she's just kidding and reminds them of her promise to Mashiron to have 2 rest days. Next, Aoyuki opens a second can for her outfit reveal and begins to tease her fans from the ankles up. The comments and donations keep rolling in till she finally reveals the full outfit, complete with a Sailor Moon transformation. The audience loves the new look, so Aoyuki gives a shout out to Mashiron, who sends a 10,000 yen donation. Next up is comments and call-ins, so someone asks if there's any streamer she'd like to be like. Aoyuki says Haru is the first that comes to mind. After, Aoyuki reads out some more comments saying they hope she'll get more comfortable at streaming while sober. The first call comes in from Hikari, who congratulates her like a proud mom, making Aoyuki tear up. The call was wholesome for a second till Aoyuki started revealing her secret fantasy of being Hikari's mommy. She then suggests they play some games together now that she's not broke, so Hikari invites her to play some action games, but Aoyuki says she's into something a little bit more risk. Hikari recognizes one from Sei's stream, but she has no idea she's signing up for some R-rated fantasy games. Sei joins the call and says she'd like a Risk collab, so Aoyuki agrees and asks what the color of her panties is, but Sei isn't wearing any. Shine calls in and one of the commenters asks Shine to feed Aoyuki with a feeding bottle as her mommy, so Sei donates 50,000 yen to see her dreams come true. Her other genmates call in and things go great till she gets a surprise call from Nakoma. However, when Aoyuki picks up, Haru says she's the one on the call. Aoyuki thinks Nakoma must be doing a Haru impression, so she goes along and asks her to marry her. Nakoma doesn't stutter and agrees immediately, so Aoyuki nervously asks for a song collab, but Nakoma is down for that too. Aoyuki suggests they eat crickets, and Nakoma escalates it to roaches and tarantulas, making Aoyuki wonder who the drunk one on the call is. Lastly, Aoyuki asks what color her panties are, and Nakoma gladly describes how hot and black they are, blowing Aoyuki's brain. Thankfully, Nakoma hops off the call, making Aoyuki relieved, but when Nakoma calls back a second later, she wonders what's going on. Nakoma reveals that the last caller really was Haru, who wanted to give her a prank call for her monetization stream, so Aoyuki's life flashes before her eyes as she screams. That's it for this video. Comment Strozero if you want a part 2. And if you like anime recaps like this, then watch this video over here.